Dr. Greeney here, dermatologist, reacting to Bryan Johnson, the billionaire. He's the one that's known for these wild anti-aging techniques.
I have been spending millions of dollars for the past 3 years working to slow my speed of aging.
Including, I want to say, like infusing his son's blood into his own blood to get anti-aging benefits. So he dropped his anti-aging skincare routine. So I'm going to watch that today and react with you guys.
Skin is the largest organ of our bodies. As a kid, I kind of destroyed mine. I was in the sun all the time, no sunscreen, and now I'm in my 40s, I'm paying the price.
So many of my patients I see in clinic have sun damage from when they were kids, and nobody thinks about skin damage. Nobody thinks about cardiovascular health when they're in their 20s and 30s. They're thinking about it when they're having clogged arteries or precancers or skin cancers. You think about a lot of these like slow kind of indolent health issues way later down the road. So he's got a great point. Protect yourself early.
What we've done is we've used various technologies to measure my skin damage and my age. I'm going to show you 3 things today. I'm going to start with the creams, then I'm going to show you lasers or devices, and then I'm going to tell you what you should do on a daily basis. I wake up, I wash my face with CeraVe.
So CeraVe, we're off to a rough start here. CeraVe, pronounced CeraVe. It's okay. You're a billionaire. You're trying to make it a little fancy.
Salicylic acid, which is like just enough to keep my face blemish free. I also microdose Accutane. So I currently take 2 pills a week. Each one's 40 milligrams, which has really been great.
Salicylic acid, absolutely wonderful. Beta hydroxy acid for improving issues with acne. Microdosing Accutane, kind of wild, but I actually do that for a few of my patients. So that's awesome.
The dose I'm taking has acne side effects. So this is really great for some acne control. I just applied this Adipoo cream. We've been trying this now for 3 weeks. So this is basically feeding fat cells in my face because I'm trying to rejuvenate the volume of my face.
So he's got a really good point here. He's obviously a very fit guy, very low body fat. And unfortunately, when you're that fit and you're that lean, you show signs of aging more. So he's basically using this cream, try to stimulate his adipocytes, interestingly, but people pay thousands of dollars to have volume injected into their face with fillers and stuff. So he's trying to do this with his natural adipocytes, his natural fat cells in his face.
It could be in the case that in a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks from now, it's in kind of like the cream graveyard on my counter.
We've all got a skincare graveyard. Now, I do want to go back just a little bit and look at his counter and kind of look at what he's got here. So I see a couple things right off the get-go. He's got some Cetaphil here. Okay, nice product like that. You know this tube right here in the middle with that little red maroon stripe on it. That's LTMD, baby. That's a wonderful one to have there. Love that. Vaseline, you know, as I say, when life is bad, put some Vaseline on it. So we love Vaseline. We love LTMD. Cetaphil's awesome. So got a couple little samples. I see a little Ordinary peeking through there. Despite being a billionaire, got some Ordinary. These are less than $10 sometimes.
Basically, in summary, the routine is very simple. I wash with this in the morning. I put this cream on, I just dab it on. Again, trial, we'll see if it works. And then I put sunscreen on, Elta MD. I wear sunscreen because the sun causes damage. It ages the skin and causing aging damage. So I try to spend my time.
So he's absolutely right here. So SPF 41, great protection overall. You know, he knows that the sun is your #1 enemy. He can get vitamin D other ways through supplementation and things like that. You don't need to necessarily get it from the sun. And it's interesting because he's looking at ways to measure skin health with some of these topicals. Now he's talking a little bit in periods of weeks and stuff. I wonder if that's a little too short in a time frame, but I know he switches up things pretty frequently based on, you know, the metrics and different testing things he's doing. But very good take on the sunscreen. One of the most important things you can do as somebody that wants to have longevity too. You know, skin cancer is something that will kill you, especially melanoma, even for young people.
I'm in the sun in the early mornings or in the evenings when the UV index is low. Otherwise, I stay out of the sun. But when I am in the sun, I do have sunscreen on.
So I love that. That's absolutely right. If you're going to enjoy the sun, you want to do the exact opposite of what some people online are saying, talking about being out at peak hours and getting that sun exposure. It's awful. If you're going to enjoy the sun, enjoy it at safer times, like in the mornings or in the later afternoons and evenings.
We've constructed a diet for my 2,250 calories where every calorie has to fight for its life. So we have these ideal markers of where we want the organs to be, and we have the food, and if the food does not deliver the marker that we expect it to, it's out. The same is kind of true at the clinic, where we have these markers, for example, with skincare, like UV damage, pore size, reds, browns, etc. If we don't hit the markers, the technology is out. And so let me show you how we do these baseline measurements to get us orientation of where my starting point is. This device here is a clinical grade system that's typically in dermatology offices. It's called multispectral imaging, and it gives you this dashboard of, I think, 8 to 10 different biomarkers. When I started, it was pretty terrifying. I looked like a zombie face. You see all the damage.
These systems are really, really good for helping to wake people up. And you get under some of these devices, like I've done one with SkinCeuticals before. It really highlights all of those sunspots. You can also often measure pore size and things like that with these devices. The cool thing too is if you do cosmetic treatments and you look at these before and after, you can see a huge difference in the health quality of your skin. I just want to pause. I'm not a billionaire, but dude's got good taste. He's got the same Whoop on that I got. So Whoop is a wristband that you can get that's a health monitor. So obviously this guy's into all kinds of monitoring every stat in the world. If you want to try something that really helped me get better sleep and be a little bit more mindful of my health, I'll drop my link below if you ever wanted to try Whoop. You can get, I think you get like a free month. I get a free month if you sign up. But anyway, try out Whoop. I see Bryan Johnson's got it on. He's the man for longevity. It's probably a great idea.
So this is an Exilius device. This is for the face. This is a radio frequency technology, and it's used for collagen production and for tightening the skin. So as you age, you lose firmness of the skin and less collagen. So we're trying to revolumize.
Radio frequency devices have been one of the hottest discussions over the last couple years, and some of them include microneedling with radio frequency. Some are just regular radio frequency. That's really good at stimulating collagen. For people after 30, you start losing collagen and elastin year over year. For women, that really accelerates through menopause. So these cosmetic treatments, ideally kind of boost that collagen up and try to get you a little collagen boost as time goes on. By the way, the clinic, kind of interesting. I don't know if this is in this dude's house. I don't know who's doing these treatments. I do recommend if you have these treatments done, see a board certified dermatologist or a plastic surgeon.
I lost a lot of facial volume due to my caloric restriction, but we've tried to increase volume. And if you see my pictures from a year ago to now, it's a big difference. I've revolumized quite a bit. So we have a device that measures heat. We stay at exactly 40 to 42 C. Anything above is used for fat burning, but anything below should be restorative.
A lot of these high-tech radio frequency devices, if you use them on the wrong settings, and a lot of them will actually have fat burning settings, it can often lead to fat loss. So, he's doing everything he can to keep his facial volume, and the last thing in the world he wants to do is melt his fat away. But a lot of times that can be prevented by seeing an expert, having these treatments done by an expert that understands the settings.
Also, we pause this because we've become very recently positive on a technology called Tixel. We don't yet own the device, we're buying it now. But that uses thermal mechanical ablation. So it uses a titanium tip and it delivers these intense pulses of heat. And we found it is safe. So we've used lasers, we've used RF, and they all have these pros and cons. There's always some nuances with the technology. Tixel, we're finding, is safe, it's efficacious, it does the same things like firmness and collagen production. So I'm now 3 therapies in.
So you got to be a little careful. Tixel's not something I have in my clinic, but really none of these aesthetic devices are perfectly safe by themselves. It's so important to see an expert if you're having any kind of treatment done. Not that most of us would have these crazy expensive devices in our homes anyway, but you do have to be careful. Not everything is perfectly 100% safe.
It measures advanced glycated end products. And so this particular reader, you can see here, you can find age on the bottom on the x-axis here, and the result is your y-axis. So for example, if you're 20 years old, you'll be right here on the result for normal. One line below standard deviation is better than normal, the one is above. My first measurements were in the red, like I was really bad. And so this again is looking at cardiovascular health for the skin.
That's very cool. I don't know if it scans the skin or scans the blood, but that's a super cool test. There's no doubt about it that when you got a lot of chronic inflammation, you can build these byproducts up in your skin, and it's harmful for your health. So wild that he was in the red when he first started, as someone who's been so into longevity and doing these things already. Makes us be a little worried for the rest of us.
We started using this device. This is BBL, also known as IPL, intense pulse light, and there's different wavelengths. And we started doing full body treatments. There was a small study at Stanford that showed that it changed the genetic expression of skin to be dramatically younger.
So BBL I'm very familiar with. It's something that I have in my clinic that I use every single day for my patients. You'll see that there's a variety of wavelengths. 515 is really good at getting rid of like brown spots off the skin. The 560 is very good at getting rid of red spots. Some of the other settings can remove hair. Some of them can tighten the skin a little bit. So BBL is an amazing treatment overall, but my gosh, it's a very expensive device to own. And one more thing. So there's an interesting study with BBL where basically they took people that had BBL treatments for 10 years. They looked at them when they were 10 years older and compared it to their photos when they were 10 years younger. And people perceived them to be younger even when they were 10 years older after regularly getting BBL treatment. So it's one of the best treatments for your skin. It's very, very good.
Another device which we've used, which is kind of like it's gone in and out of our protocol, is Soluma Pro. It's a bit expensive. It's $1,500 for this, so it's kind of a big buy.
Brian, bro, don't be making a big deal about this $1,500 device. You just showed us the BBL device. I have that in my clinic. Mine has a couple other things like Halo and TRL on it, but that's 300 grand, bro. Don't talk about expensive when you're showing me some $1,500 thing. Don't play with me.
It has both red and blue light, and red is for collagen production and healing skin health. Blue is for acne. So I did this for a bit for blemish control when I was having side effects from some of the medications I was taking, but I no longer do it. So it kind of comes in and out of the protocol, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint because the effect is so subtle. And the devices we use have such a big effect, like the Tixel system.
So things like BBL, you talk about, like even treating acne, it has a forever clear setting. The amount of energy you get probably from a BBL device compared to some of these facial masks and things like that, night and day. So procedural things are going to really turn back the clock very rapidly. You don't have to spend $1,500 on these devices. Like for example, you can get red light, blue light with a mask like this. This one's from Qure. It's one of my favorite masks. This is one of the most well-built ones that I've ever used. I've done a couple videos on that. I'll link it at maybe the end of this video. Your skincare routine's going to be the most powerful thing you do over the long run. Doing treatments is going to help turn back the clock very rapidly. The cherry on top might be these masks, like the red light and blue light masks.
We have stayed with red light therapy. We weren't certain whether it justified the time. I do this 3 times a week for 12 minutes. So it's a total of 36 minutes a week.
Quick math.
And it uses both red light and near infrared. It's good for skin health, for healing, for mitochondrial health.
Yeah, and red light's kind of been shown to boost ATP. You hear about mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, as we all know it as. So red light can kind of boost that ATP. That might be part of the reason that it tends to work for hair loss too. To get that red light all over your skin, is it a major benefit? I don't know. People enjoy it. I'll say that.
So this one, we feel like the evidence is there to support doing this, even though we can't directly measure its effect because it's compounded upon other things we do. And that's a basic tour of the clinic. You get an idea of how fast we move, the things we try. I'm very happy with the progress we've made. Looking at my damage, I think when I started, I was in like the 98th percentile. My skin age was like 64 on one of the markers, and I'm on my recent measurement, I was to between 37 and 42. So had significant improvements in the measurement. But on my windows, I have really big ones all over the house, and I get a lot of sun in the morning and night. And so to control the environment, we have a tint on here that knocks out like 99.9% of UV.
The only place I've ever been that had those directly is I volunteered at a camp called Camp Dermatologist. And it's a camp for children that have skincare disorders. And there were some kids there that had this thing called XP, and they basically can develop skin cancers very rapidly and easily. You have to do the most protective sun prevention that you can ever do, so we would have these windows tinted at the camp for the children with XP to prevent any sun damage. So UVA is really good about penetrating window glass. And UVA is the aging rays. So the fact that he's blocking out that on his windows is wonderful. Be very mindful, even if you're doing office work, wearing your sunscreen. When you're driving to work or you're driving somewhere long trips, wear your sunscreen because that comes right through the window glass.
I get a lot of comments about my pale skin. I'm a vampire. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? But really, sun causes damage. It ages your skin. It makes you look older.
And I wonder, really culturally, it hasn't really moved towards being more tan now. I personally feel like people are more comfortable being less tan now, but maybe what he's referring to is way back in the day, Coco Chanel had come back from a trip and came back with this sun-kissed look. And that's actually what sparked the whole tanning craze, because throughout history, certain cultures have viewed tan skin as bad or pale skin as good and different things like that. Well, Coco Chanel back in the day, I don't know if it was in the 50s, I think, kind of sparked up this tanning craze that persisted for quite some time.
The objective is slowing my speed of aging and reversing aging damage. That includes sun damage. So I try to control what comes in my window. When I go outside, I'll walk to the cafe close by. I will take an umbrella with me and I'll have the umbrella above my head.
So while it's great to prevent the direct, sun exposure, over your head, keep in mind the light reflects everywhere. So you got to keep wearing your sunscreen, just like Bryan Johnson.
Try to avoid damaging your skin. This happens when there's high UV. That means so between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day, roughly in that window of time, it's higher UV, there's more damage. It's higher in the summer than it is in the winter. The most effective thing to do is avoid the damage. If you're going to be outside, wear sunscreen. Ulta MD is a good option. It's on the Blueprint website.
Ulta MD is Dermatologist's #1 recommended sunscreen. My favorite one is Ulta MD UV Clear. I can link that in the description as well. It's a fantastic sunscreen. I can promise you, pretty much if you try it on your face, you'll never use another sunscreen in your life.
Or if you can avoid it altogether, even better.
Prevention is so much better than dealing with the fallout down the road. When you get to the point that you're seeing me in the office and I'm having to freeze off precancers and skin cancers off of you, it's a little too late. You can still prevent more then, but you have all your life ahead of you to start today, prevent, and keep your best skin going forward. Bryan, thanks for sharing your wonderful skincare routine. And I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next video.